Eden Cause here with Just Be, and we are about to take a spiritual boom. We are at an unprecedented time in human history where we are transitioning from 3D to 5D within the great spiritual awakening. This video and audio podcast is the place for you to find your truth beyond politics, your sovereignty, your voice. Let's kick up your vibration now. By the way, each episode ends with the Just Be practice to do just that. And as we begin the show, just to know a little bit more about me, I'm a soul realignment specialist, meditation master, and dimensional healer. Learn more, and there's merch also at EdenJustBe.com. Let's get this party started. Eden Just Be Spiritual Boom in association with the Grassroots Warrior Network. Well, hello, everybody. It's just me today. I hope everybody's doing well. We are coming in with Greatest Hits number 7. And I got to tell you guys, I love doing these because I think they are great. Every week when I have a guest on the show, I take a snippet, a snippet that I feel is really pivotal and good, and put it into the greatest hits. So this is compiled over time. So when I get to it, it doesn't actually feel like a whole bunch of work, but there's a lot that goes into it indeed. So today we are going to talk about animals as psychic sponges. We're going to talk about urine therapy, aura, parenting, sexual material, the aura as your energetic blueprint of the soul, changing the paradigm of aging. And we're going to talk about what a galactic walk-in is. And let me go ahead and mention this just in case I don't. So Aurora, who's going to be featured, she's on a treadmill. So if you're watching and you see her going up and down, that's why. We are also going to talk about the Kabal, Hitler, duality, and U.S. involvement in World War II, children, new and old energy structures from the Indigo child to the crystal children to the crystal golden children. And I have Pia Cullen here twice because one of their tidbits is very timely. So the March 21st, 2025, it's a big deal. So around that time, there's going to be a beautiful shift and peace to us, which is so astounding. Okay. I wanted to go ahead and say this. All right. So it is December 2024. This will be live on December 11th. So a couple things, 15% I'm offering off my merchandise. So you just enter the code BHoliday15. So BE Holiday 15, and you can get 15% off through the end of December. And I've got like over 30 designs there, and I've got my Truth sweatshirt on, which I'll talk more about that later. So also $10 off for any new clients that come my way via the podcast. So just approach me. That's how you connected or you saw me. So Eden at EdenJustBe.com. And also my homepage has lots of discounts off some amazing products, including Hygge Health, which is red light therapy, grounding materials, and Howard Richmond out of California. He's I really have affection for that man and what he does, as well as Twisted Sage. So in this greatest hits, also, we'll go back to this. Look, Lori Spagna is on the show. Dimitri Moraitis. Hopefully I'm not butchering any names. Y'all know how I am with that. Barbara With is here. Brian Besco, again, from Twisted Sage, leads a very pivotal Just Be practice. I think all the Just Be practices on the show are really great, but this is one I really want to highlight. So he goes into the Trinity breath and the soul altar. I think it's a game changer. It was pivotal for me during the time. Okay, before we begin, there's one thing that's on my heart right now that I want to share. All right, y'all, my show is about truth. So I love wearing this shirt today because it is really hard right now for discernment. I have this one Telegram channel that I've utilized for a long time that suddenly they're starting to put information on there that I'm just like, I don't quite resonate with it. It's very confusing. There are several people that I used to follow that now I'm just, what resonates with me, I'll hold on to, and some of the other stuff I don't. And that's part of this process through the Great Awakening too. I feel like there is intention to get you so off your game, so topsy-turvy. So I have been probably 3 weeks, I've been looking at some stuff, but really have pulled myself away from certain things. And I don't know if I'm going to go back. So Tom, who y'all saw on the show last week, has an incredible disaffection, let's call it, or unaffectionate for Elon Musk, which I believe right now that Elon, there is a good part of that. And I saw a t-shirt this past weekend, which I think explains it really well. It's at Elon Dark MAGA. So you take that to how you feel, but I think that's very appropriate. So just know here on this podcast, when I bring in guests, I go from the heart. It just follows this expanse that it's supposed to follow. And who comes on the show, I trust that they're supposed to be here at this time. And it's not to believe everything they say, yet just to listen and knowing that I am here as an arbitrator to give everybody a place to speak, give everybody a place to share themselves. And again, my intention here is truth and the heart. And if I continue to put that out, I know that the information on the show is going to serve a greater purpose. And I really desire y'all to feel this, taking poetic pauses here. For me, 2025 is going to be magnificent. And I desire to be so clear with what you feel and what you perceive the world to be is what's going to mirror back to you. So we all have a tremendous effect in this. And with this great split going on right now, it is so important to get rid of garbage off yourself, of stinking thinking, of old karmas. I mean, it's so important right now because those are going to affect your reality. So for me, and I say this like I'm stomping my foot, 2025 is going to be glorious, that nothing is going to get me off my game, that I am so excited. And I feel also when you carry that with you and you hold that, embody that, that is what time moving forward is going to be like. And of course, time being a false paradigm as well. It's just all going to be so interesting. So I will continue to hold the light and hold the space. You do that as well. So let's get started. So episode, I hope that was good. I hope that made sense. And heart to you all for watching. I'm so grateful to be here with you all today and for you to trust and be here, that something within this is worthwhile, that I'm worthwhile. Oh gosh, I'm getting a little teary with that. I love it. Now, okay, episode 124, Lori Spagna, spiritual activator, animal communicator. Let's go. All right. Smile it up, Lori. Sometimes I do crazy things like this. I just get all into it. And I wouldn't have done this multiple years ago, but now I'm like,
you be you.
Okay. Thinking we got some stuff.
Oh, I see. You mean I could have done that too?
Oh, yeah. Do you want to do that? You can.
Sure.
Oh, I love it. I love it when my guests do it too. I think it's so. Oh. Okay.
And just one other thing about animal communication is that overall, the animals are here to help humans, not in the way we think in the old paradigm, like, oh, you get to eat their bodies, you know, in a whole new way. They're here. They're psychic sponges. They're energy sponges. They're teaching humans about energy, about, yes, ourselves. So you can learn so much from animals about incredible gifts of wisdom, knowledge, energy. And it doesn't have to be just pets, but pets or the animal companions that we have, they know your secrets. They know what you're working on. They're basically assigned to you, or you meet on some level pre-birth and say, we're going to work on this issue together. And whatever the issue is, we're going to work on this together. And it's going to be my issue, but it's also your issue. And so the two souls have an agenda to address, heal, resolve something. So the animal, this is why I say animals know your secrets, but not from a, like,
I know it.
right, from the perspective that they're here to help us.
Yes. Can you speak of one of your most memorable experiences talking to an animal? I guess is the best way to say it.
I mean,
I'm
one of
sure
my
there've been
most
tons.
favorite, most memorable was one of my earliest, believe it or not. Although I've got
Yeah.
so many, we could spend an hour just talking about this, right?
Yeah.
But I'll never forget this one was when I first started really getting into animal communication in
Yeah.
a way that it wasn't just like I was getting messages, hearing it, and like learning from like dogs and other animals. It was more like I was actually practicing it. So I was living in Maui. I was on Craigslist back then was like all you had. And someone posted from Oahu, a woman with a horse posted, I'm looking for an animal communicator to help me with this horse. And I wrote back to her and I was like, well, I can't guarantee anything. I'm pretty new at this,
Mhm.
but so that I can develop, I'm glad to do whatever I can offer you. I said, don't tell me anything. This is, we never met. I never met the horse in person. I never met the human.
Wow.
So just send me a picture, a photo. So it turned out it was a foal, actually. And so I get the picture and I tune in with this foal, and it's only just the head of the foal, and I could see the mother's head. And I'm, just trying to make the connection, and all I can just keep hearing in my head is like, I'm stumped, I'm stumped, I'm stumped, go below the knee. And I'm like, I don't know what any of this means. This isn't not making sense. So I write back and I'm like, gee, I'm really sorry. Like I'm just keep hearing I'm stumped, I'm stumped. I did hear the words go below the knee. The person writes back to me and is like, no, you're getting something. This
Mm.
horse's knee below the knee was amputated. Can you please just see what else you can get? So I'm like, oh my God,
Oh,
like, okay.
all right.
So what I get, I go back to the horse again, and same picture. And what I get is like I'm just connecting through the soul, right? The soul of the horse. And what I get is there's bad people around me. They want to kill me. Tell them to go away. I want to
Oh.
live. And oh, by the way, can you tell the nice ones to give me some more carrots?
I love
So
this
that's what
horse.
I go back to the lady and I
Jeez.
type this back. I'm like, I hope it's okay, but this is what I'm hearing. This is what I'm
Yeah.
getting. And she's like, that's exactly right. She's like, we have vets here. We're trying to
Oh,
decide, should we euthanize this baby who had this accident, this problem? We don't know. We didn't know. And since you got that, we're going to get a prosthetic and keep this animal alive. And that was just a game changer for me. Like that animal did more service for me
right.
because that animal helped me realize like I could help. I
You
could
got
really.
it. Oh
So
my
that was
gosh.
like, I mean, I can go on with a gazillion other stories. Like, let me just tell you this one other one. I had
Yeah,
this cow.
please. Ah,
I went to this rescue farm where they rescued animals. And I went to, just to do healing with the animals. It wasn't really about telepathy. I was already really good animal communicator. So I went to go do healing with this cow, and I immediately hear, and it had a masculine energy, even though it was a cow. And I hear, oh, don't waste your time on me. I'm an old cow.
oh,
Go take care of the others. He had this big tumor underneath his jaw. I'm saying his because it was a male energy, but was a female cow. So tumor under the jaw, which was what they asked me to do healing on the cow with. So I was like, oh my God, instantly in love with this cow. I was like, oh my God, like I cannot even, I just the love, this cow, like so selfless, right?
yeah.
And I'm like, oh no, please. Like, I just want to stay with you. I just want to stay. And the cat's like, okay, I'll allow it. And, because you always ask, like, you do have practices to ask permission. You have to ask permission. Free will counts. And so I got that it was all right. And I stayed with the cow and I'm like doing this healing. And while I'm doing the healing, I'm hearing the cow say, I carry the weight. This chin is the weight of all the cows who were slaughtered before me.
Oh, shucks.
And this is
Oh,
great. And so like I'm
oh,
like having to avoid, you can't get in the emotion of it, right? Because when you healing,
it's
you want
tremendous.
energy, right?
Mhm.
But in any case, afterwards I go and I tell people on the farm, they're rescue workers. And I tell them what I got, and they're like, Lori, that's exactly right. That cow was the last one other one rescued from a slaughterhouse
Ooh.
right before it closed.
Ah. Episode 130, Ankie, Hille, Hagen, Biohacker.
And yeah, I try weird things.
Okay, what's the weirdest thing that you've tried? That's a good. Let's lead into that because I've done some stuff too. Yep.
Well, we're just well, the latest is I think the urine therapy that I'm about to try. So I'm now sample the urine. I'm gonna store it for 21 days and then I'm gonna shoot it back.
Okay, so
Yeah.
literally drink it.
No, I'm not that
Okay.
brave.
Okay, because I know
So you
that
put
there's
it up
that too.
somewhere
Okay.
else where the sun doesn't shine.
Okay, so you shoot it up there. Girl, we got to
Yeah.
get specific about this. All right, so
Yeah,
urine
5 or 10
therapy.
milliliters. Yeah.
Okay, let me write this one down. I can't because there are so many things. I mean, there are so okay. So say that again. Okay, so you give a sample, hold it for 21 days, right?
Yeah.
Okay, then
Yeah, between 14 and 21. So I listened to 2 podcasts and one was the doctor that had written her was a dissertation about it.
okay.
And that was 14 days holding it and then put it back.
Okay, so are
That
you
was
doing
5
are you doing
ml.
this on your own?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so hold it and then shoot it
Yeah.
back in your
But it's
body.
5. Yeah.
And then what's it supposed to do? Potentially.
Urine can help with so much. If you just Google it and Google urine therapy, I can't even say everything is good for it because I don't have clue for everything is good for. They say it can help with allergies, it can help with a lot of things. I just want to see if I can improve my health, just even if it's just by 1%. Why not?
Mhm.
But drink it, I'm not there yet. I'm sorry. I'm not that brave.
Again, everyone, I have a contact of mine who actually puts urine on her face because it's supposed to be great for your skin.
They say it's amazing. Yeah.
Okay. And again, I'm assuming because it's gone through the body and gone through all these detoxing.
Yeah, it's antiseptic, it's antibacterial, it's yeah. So it's really good for you.
Now I'm sitting here going, I'm going to have to think of this. What's the wildest thing that I've done? I'm going to have to think on that, Ankie. Okay. Episode 136, Dimitri Moraitis, co-founder, Spiritual Arts Institute. Okay. Interesting to go down this path. In talking with parents, tell me if you agree with this. I had a class at a middle school before COVID, probably 7 or 8 years ago. And the boys pulled out their phone. Okay, I'm going to be pretty frank about this. 7th grade, and pulled up their porn on their phone in front of me and in front of everybody else. And I just sat there and I was like, whoa, today's parent, I believe you got to talk about things that you never thought you would talk about early on. What would you say to that?
That's a tough one. I
Yeah.
really wish they would regulate that more. I think that's out of control.
agree.
Where there's time enough to get involved with that. You don't want to overly look. There's a reason puberty hits at the age it hits, right? You're not supposed to be sexually active before a certain period of time. But if you're throwing sexual material before it's time, it's confusing the psyche, and it can start to prematurely sort of excite things, which is not a balanced way to be. We all know the sexual drive is one of the big things of adulthood and how we handle those early years. But okay, there's the first 7 years. Now here's interesting from the auric point of view.
Yeah.
The first 7 years, the aura isn't even really fully solidified until age 7. So, and that's also because the kids got to learn so much. If there are too many filters, there's too much self-awareness, they may not even learn to talk, right? So they're just taking it all in and just absorbing. Then the aura is more or less set at age 7, although of course it can be changed, and it is, but basic patterns are set. But the next big key is.
Can I ask you, Dimitri, can you just give a basic definition of the aura?
Oh, sure.
Because this is a great lead into that.
Okay, so the aura is a vibratory essence that surrounds all living things. It's the energetic blueprint of the soul. Everything going on with you is in your auric field. It's the fuel of your evolution. The most important thing you can do, I can do on this earth is earn light. We are going to take that to the other side. It is literally what is helping to fuel our evolution by every good thing we're doing, thinking, feeling, and by how we're deliberately trying to now help us evolve our soul. So your career, everything we just talked about, your kids, your family, your career, it's all in your auric field. There's nothing that's not there. The aura doesn't lie. You could say, oh, no, I'm XYZ, but if the aura shows something else, this is who you are, okay? Exactly. So, but that's because that's the energy flow. So it is the fuel of everything you're doing. So we're building this power, but even the aura, just like a child has got to grow from a child to an adult, the aura takes a while to fully phase in. It doesn't come in all at once. So whatever the soul has earned from, a previous incarnation, it's going to bring that power back, right? And it phases in distinct stages. There's 3 very important distinct stages. One is the 7 years old. The other one is 12, interesting enough, at puberty. Because at puberty, there is this whole other natural force we know too well about that's also opening up. But if you can harness that energy early on, some people, when they go at puberty, they go nuts. But others take it kind of cool, right? And again, those seem to be often the ones that end up doing better, where they don't go crazy over that. Even there's all this peer pressure, but half the peer pressures, they're trying to figure out what to do too. Your cronies don't really know what's going on. They're the same age as you. They're just reacting to it this way, or what they were told by others that supposedly know more about these things, right? And then the final one is 16. At 16, the full energy of the aura comes in. And from the point of view of the aura, you are an adult. And also, I know we're talking about family a lot today. So while we're responsible only for our own evolution, a parent does take on certain karmic responsibilities because it has to make decisions on behalf of the child. But after 16, the child takes on full karmic responsibilities for their actions.
And my only regular guests, episode 132, Star Communicators, PhDs, Pia and Cullen.
So I would say in terms of aging, you're right that the agenda wants us to think that when we get old, it's a natural thing, it's going to happen, we're going to lose our minds, we'll become incompetent.
Decrepit.
All those things, decrepit,
Right.
great word. All those things are projected on us. So I say the very first place to start is don't believe that. Age is a state of mind. Get rid of the belief. Yes, the body is going to change. Yes, the body will not look like it did 30 years ago. There will be changes, but you can keep your mind alert. You can keep your body in good health. You can continue doing the same things you do or want to do with a lot more wisdom. So for me, the idea of aging is, it's a changing from the belief of I'm going to get old and then I'm going to die and it's going to hurt. I'm going to gather my wisdom. I'm going to find different ways to be of service, and I'm going to keep my body in a good state while I'm doing it.
I think one of the best ways to look at this is simply adjusting to the changes.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, oh, I have wrinkles, my hair's turning gray, I've gained weight, this and that. It's being okay looking at the adjustments, and the adjustments will happen. There's no doubt about that. Until we create an environment where there's no toxicity and we can live longer and more healthily, we just need to adjust. Okay, I have aged. I can't run a marathon anymore. I can't climb a mountain anymore, but that's okay because I can still walk. I can still hike moderately. I can still do things. So we just have to adjust our, as Pia said, our belief system about what's happening to us.
Here's a really good example, Eden. When women go through menopause in the Western culture, they go, oh my God, I'm getting old. And they run to the doctor to get hormones to make them young again. When I was writing my book, Sacred Retreat, I interviewed some doctors and I interviewed people in different cultures around the world. And I found out that only in Western cultures is menopause considered a bad thing. And only in Western cultures is menopause medicated as if something's wrong.
Right.
In other cultures, they just look at you and say, hey, your thermostat's just changing. Don't take your sweater with you. Take it on, put it off, put it on, take it off. Just be comfortable. You're going through changes. You'll regulate, just give it some space.
And
that's a healthy attitude, because that doesn't assign a woman to, you're getting old and you're not going to be attractive anymore. Nobody will have use for you anymore. All those Western concepts that we are pummeled with.
it takes it.
Oh, may I interject for just a second?
Yeah,
also,
sure.
that concept is, and you feel it all around, that when you get older, you are useless. Okay. And also menopause, croning, which is a really interesting word, and just increasing. Like, I do feel, and my clients that I have that are older, there is such a wisdom of experience. I mean, their experiences like y'all's are just, wow, look at that. And you've done this and you've done that. It's amazing. So to get back to that aging has amazing qualities. Okay, go ahead, Cullen.
Well, what I was just going to say is we need to stop looking at diagnosis.
Yes.
Because a diagnosis is, if we use menopause as the example again, the diagnosis is you're going to feel like heck, and you're going to age through the process. Those belief systems, as we said a moment ago, are erroneous. They're not real. And for menopause, I think what women need to do is just use what I said earlier, just adjust, just see that you're doing something different. You're experiencing your body and your life differently. It doesn't make it bad.
Same thing applies to andropause for men. I wrote about that in Sacred Retreat also. But it all comes down to the same thing of doing exactly what Cullen said, change your perspective and go into it with the idea of, I'm going to be different, but I'm going to be great.
Like an evolution.
Yes.
Yes,
Can just
exactly.
be an evolution.
Yes.
That's a great description of that.
Right. So, and we've been taught, again, this evolution of aging is bad. You're going to look bad. Like you said, Pia, you're going to be unattractive, and society basically deems you as useless. So I would like to tell everybody out there, not you. I mean, look at us talking, and the wisdom and the saging versus aging that can happen, and turning us back to that, and knowing that all of these paradigms are shifting. So let's shift this one as well to an evolution. How y'all feel about that? Episode 134, Aurora, Galactic Walk-In. And I did mention she's on a treadmill, so that's why she's going up and down if you're watching. In terms of the Great Awakening, knowing that you were a Galactic Walk-In in 2001, was that when you opened up to everything, or did you have an inclination before? Please explain that.
Well, okay, so I came in the early part of October 2001, literally in the wake of the huge disturbance that were the events of September 11th, 2001. So some of your listeners might be young or, not have that really on their radar, but that was a really, really crucial moment, not only in human Earth surface nation state politics, but also in the metaphysical fabric of space-time. It was really like a tearing apart of the fabric of causality. Causality means this thing over here happens because this thing happens over here. You could also describe it accurately with your mythological language as saying it was a dark magic spell. What happened on September 11th was a type of dark magic, and very literally it was also a hypnosis or a mind control spell. And all of that was a huge disturbance to the highest levels of reality. And so let me explain a little bit about my emanation, where I come from. I am Aurora, a waveform presence. So when I am not here in a physical presence with 2 arms and 2 legs, talking to people as I am now, and I'm not in my social presence, I'm a pure abstraction. And I am a collective, which means a collective of consciousnesses, much like an orchestra is a collection of musicians, or even your physical body is a collection of trillions of cells. So I come from a place that is very otherworldly, outside of space-time, outside of material existence, as a pure energy form. And then this event happened on September 11th. That was hugely disturbing. And then there was a disturbance in the life of the woman whose life I walked into, meaning she had literally a mortality event that ended her life and ended her existence. It was very like unjust, cosmically unjust and cosmically unfair. And I came in as an otherworldly presence because I said, that is very unjust. There's an opportunity for me to come in and to heal and rectify timelines, and for me to be able to have an impact by having a physical body and being directly connected to DNA. Like if you have real estate and you have a body and you're here, you can be powerful in ways that you can't be powerful in just an ephemeral form. So the methodology that I used and invented to be able to come and embody here is this shape that I'm holding up that is called the flying rainbow lasagna. So this shape is like a genetic oscillation. I'm holding up a static object that is, a sculptural form, that this is a poetic, analogy of what I am, but I am oscillating energy waveform. So if you can imagine, or I don't know if anybody's just listening to an audio of this podcast, but
Yes.
this is like a very colorful, formful rainbow shape. And the edge is wavery, like a lasagna noodle edge. That's why it's called lasagna. And it has a motion to it. It undulates like a jellyfish. And this is really an activity at the genetic level and at the energetic level of not only my body presence, but I'm really on a mission to be able to teach and embody this to other people so that others can do it too. Like it was revolutionary that I did it and I innovated it and figured out a way to do this. And also it's even more revolutionary if more people learn how to do it, because it's hugely empowering. It equates to being able to reactivate dormant DNA or use your DNA in the most optimum form possible to be able to avoid death, avoid what is called decrepitude, which is the feeling of getting older, what people call chronological aging. You will experience time very, very differently as you begin to lasagna with your DNA, because our bodies are meant to rejuvenate and regenerate. And we have then a very different experience with what it's like to be alive. And we have a different lifespan and a different expectation. And also we reawaken what are called superpowers, powers of the higher consciousness. That would be things like telepathy, telekinesis, radical self-healing, or like control of your body, or even being able to reach into other people's bodies, being able to far speak, like talk with someone that lives in a far distant galaxy or at a different time, things that people in this time and place would consider, superhuman or very otherworldly, but that will become very natural, as it once was our natural state in a time before our DNA was diminished.
Episode 67, Grandmother Mulara, Aboriginal Senior Lore Woman.
When I read things, I can read them and remember them and link the connections in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw some paperwork some time ago where the Kabal, now we can call them that, Illuminati, had actually, I'm not sure if I can say that on this program, but anyway, there you go. I've said it. You can wipe it out if need be. Actually had Australia was the base, was their home, was their base. And so I am not surprised that we have struggled here, because this was intended to be their headquarters, and it was their headquarters. So
how have you been, how do I explain this? Like right now it is, if you kind of choose to be in 5D, okay, let me see if I can explain this. Like for me, my life is great, yet also being a human being and watching things and doing my best all to stay as neutral as possible, especially now. How are you navigating being there, seeing what you see, attempting to stay balanced? Did people even listen to you 20 years ago, or how did that even go?
Oh no, I didn't step out then. Okay. I was well and truly hidden. No, I was hidden. I was receiving my training,
mm-hmm.
but I was hidden. If I had my head up then, I would have been cut down, and I would have been cut down by my own people, let alone by the colonists. the colonizing government.
Okay.
So I kept things under the radar. I kept under the radar.
So how was that? Just kind of understanding that needed to be the case for you for a while, and then suddenly things came up and you could be more vocal about current events?
There's a lot going on. All right. So for the last 10 years, I have been severely defamed by the people in my own tribe because I exposed the corruption. All right. And as a result of that defamation,
Gracious.
it was really serious.
Mm-hmm.
As a result of that, I guess it affected and harmed me enough to keep me. They wanted me quiet, not to speak out, because I could see what was going on, and I exposed their dirty deeds. And it's taken a long time. It's taken all this time to finally be able to do something about it. And they are now in the Supreme Court of South Australia, having to show the books. Where's all our royalty money? Where is it gone? We've estimated a minimum of $40 million is missing, possibly 60 million. Now, if that was a white fella organisation, I think it would have been jumped on a lot earlier, but because it's a black fella organisation, they were kind of let loose. But I also going to say that they were protected by white fella lawyers, and that it was to the benefit of the law firm to keep them protected, because they got a lot of money from doing that work. Anyway, that's now in the Supreme Court. But for my own peace of mind and my sense of justice, I did a law degree, so I could find out how the hell have they done this, and where have we been tricked, and how can I make sure I can protect myself and my people who were innocent.
Show 138, Barbara with Psychic Channel, this as well in terms of Hitler. And I love the counterculture, because I feel like I've always been kind of this black sheep, never quite fitting in, but I wasn't supposed to. It's great, especially now. I totally understand it. From my perception too of Hitler, and this is not diminishing everything that happened yet, I feel it was kind of necessary, just like this great awakening that's going on. And he was, okay, how do we even say this? Embodying, it wasn't just Hitler that came to rise in power. Everyone around him helped that. So there was this consciousness of division that was necessary to create this. Again, not just him, a whole community, a whole, and now, okay, Barbara, you're going to have to help me with this.
Okay.
That going back and looking at that kind of being hell on earth, but also knowing in this great awakening that it wasn't just him. America helped with some of that. I mean, it is so polluted. And so when you get into it, so deep, so juicy, so riveting, so mind-blowing. All right, how would you tag on to that?
Well, first of all, what you said is exactly what he said. He said, I could not have done this alone. So understand that.
Yes.
And secondly, he was saying that there was this movement from Jesus of this huge spiritual love and compassion, that he was the other side of the duality.
Yes.
And also that the final word was that all of us have the potential to be Jesus and Hitler and the whole gamut in between.
Yep.
And it's our conscious choices that will decide which way we go with that. And so in retrospect, now what we see happening today, and like you say, when you look back on World War II and you start to learn all of these things that actually took place that we didn't know, and how much the US was culpable for what happened with Hitler. And then we brought them all to the United States. We brought
Operation Paperclip. Yes, we did.
Operation Paperclip. And here we are now today with what I see as a continuation of that embedded in the government that we're in. It doesn't matter what side you're on. It's just the way the structure is. And how can we bring that down? How can we transform that if we don't know that it's happening? And how can we then, I don't want to say protect ourselves so much as evolve ourselves
Yes.
to be the people who confront that? And that's my World Peace Tour, is that I'm looking for the participation of the willing who want to take part in a worldwide nonviolent movement to end this age of war by going inward first in conflict revolution.
Yes.
And find this practice and this alignment to compassion so that we naturally begin to manifest the things around us that need to come to life. And I think that's what we're seeing, as dire as it is in some places. But people are more compassionate, I think, than they ever have been before on the planet. I really think that, because of the horrors that are going on.
140. Barbara Canals, energy intuitive.
So the more that we clear this aura, this energy around, the clearer we are, the more we can follow our own intuition, because our intuition is our spirit, it's our higher self. That's what it is. So what can we get spirit or higher self in when we clear this container we're in? Because everyone, we have to understand that we are sort of like our body, which is our house, and then we have a garden around us and a fence. And that fence that can, that garden around, that's our energy field, our aura. And that fence, for many people, because of what I'll explain now with the children, is breaking down with the change of frequency. So then many more things can come in, apart from the ones that we carry, like our karma and everything. Now, with the children, so from everyone born before 95, they had this energy structure, this aura around, and it was made up of a certain energy and with a certain consciousness. So that energy structure has a first layer, which is our a first layer, which is sort of like our etheric body, and it's our protection, what would give protection to the body. Then there's a second layer, which is our astral layer. That's where all the emotional information and all our karma and everything is located. And this is obviously in the non-visible, but we can all feel it. That's why somebody can feel good to us, give us good vibes or not, or whatever. Then we have the lower mental body, which is sort of like where all our memory and everything else is stored. And then we have the higher mental body, which is the last layer. And that's what connects, it's our more spiritual layer and what connects to source. So from 95 on, the indigo children started coming in, and this whole system, instead of having all these layers, which obviously if you have these layers, to be able to get in touch with your intuition takes a long time. You have to travel from out of your body and connect, and that's why it was so hard. If you think about people before trying to meditate, it was so hard. Now people connect quicker because they've lifted many layers. But so the children that came in 95 on, which were these indigo, didn't have all these layers. So they had their body, and they had one layer only, and in that layer their spirit was already, it wasn't in the body, the spirit, but it was around there. Instead of the higher self being out there, the conscious, it was around them. So what happens with these children that were indigo? They have a lot more intuition. If your spirit is close and you don't have so much separation, you have really strong intuitive power. And if you have intuitive power, because you have a stronger intention, so you have a stronger manifestation power as well, and they had a lot of energy. When you have spirit close to you, you have a lot of energy. If you don't have all these blockages and emotional stuff going on that is dragging you down, you're just more energetic. So that's why when these children started coming in, that was when they started coining like ADD, ADHD, all these things. And it was just like the system per se, the ideas of the past, the ways we did things, they didn't fit into that. That was too old. You can't sit a kid with tons of energy in a desk for whatever. We have to change the schooling system. We have to change, the parenting ways. And then so the indigo, and then there's, there's transition period. But then around 2009, and so in that time there was like indigos being born, and then the crystals started being born. And these crystal children, the difference from the indigo, so the indigo also were like system busters. So they had like also very challenging, didn't take authority for like, you know, like for people that have indigos, whenever I say their characteristics, they're like, oh yes, I know, you know, like, because they were like, you know, they always find the truth, always want to find the truth of things, didn't comply to the norm, didn't take authority, you know, as something. But then the crystals come in and they're different because the frequency was already, you know, things were in place already. So like the indigo were fighting the system, and the crystals come in to start creating the new. And they come in with spirit embodied already. So their higher self in the body. So instead of having their spirit around, it is in there. And why are they called crystals? First, because they have this crystal aura, which is this like, it's like pink crystallization. It's like a crystal, it's impenetrable, that aura. And also because their structure in their body, their cells are crystalline. So they've crystallized. When you crystallize in the body, which many people talk about this, but it's very simple. It's when spirit has come into each one of the cells. So our actual physicality changes, right, into a crystal body. Yeah, so the crystal came in, and they had a very different energy than the indigos, a lot more I mean, an amazing, like incredible consciousness and tons of energy, but a lot more peaceful. They didn't need to fight that much more, and they were like, you know, they're much more focused on like the harmony and creation, but they're also going to be truth seekers, but they're going to start creating what they want and stuff like that. And then from 2012, and they were more sensitive, less. And then from 2012 on, it was like the crystal golden children, which means they're crystal in the same way. They're, they have spirit embodied, but they also have the golden energy integrated, like activated within them. And the golden energies are materialization power. And it's also this energy of like joy and whatever. It's the energy that's in the center of the earth. And so on the earth of like this planet. So like this, you know, so like from 2012 on, the kids are like huge energy bombs, super sociable, you know, can materialize. So it's like, and then on, like, it's like, you know, like new models of computers are being delivered, like, you know, more and more according to our evolution. Yes. And with more powers every time, you know, with more.
Pia Cullen, again, episode 141, Star Communicators, PhDs. Let's go.
Situation that is going to happen on March 21st, 2025. And it's going to be a complete energetic change. What I'm going to speak about is the Indian yugas, the ages of what is going on behind the scenes. There are 4 different yugas that rotate classically through our time, even though time doesn't really exist as we think about it. But I have to.
How do you spell yugas?
It's YUGA.
Okay, because this is new for me. So, okay, proceed, please. And
we are about to step out of Kali Yuga, Kali. And Kali is the Indian goddess of, Pia?
Death and destruction. She ends things in order for something new to begin. But these yugas that Cullen's describing are 26,000 years long, and they're in direct connection with the precession of the equinoxes of how our planet is moving through space. So they can be mapped energetically and astronomically, not necessarily by time, but we can correlate them to the best of our knowledge with our Gregorian calendar, which lines up with March 21st of 2025. Now, nothing ever is on the dot in Gregorian time because Gregorian time's all made up, but it's something to hold on to as a future date to look forward to.
So the age of Kali Yuga is basically the darkest, most uncomfortable of all the yugas. And we are about to shed that influence this spring. And so the things that are happening right now are absolutely examples. They're emblematic of Kali Yuga, the end of Kali Yuga, war, tension, destruction. I could go on and on with a huge laundry list of descriptions of things that are happening right now that we're all talking about being part of the chaotic experience we're having. Well, hopefully, by ending Kali Yuga this spring, we will be able to move forward and more people will wake up. More people will understand the bigger picture. More people will be able to create what we want, a better earth, a better society. So we're looking for huge changes, as Pia said, this spring because of the change of the yugas.
144 Graham Dunlop and Darren Grimes, Gramerica podcast since 2013. So interesting. Okay, so I researched you guys, listened to several shows, but this expands a really long time. So I really want to get into why you started your show. So y'all were friends. Did you work at the steel company together? Okay,
Yeah,
tell me how that started.
Yeah. Well, I was listening to podcasts since like 2007, 2008, maybe, all kinds of stuff. Like I went through my recovery phase and got into like skeptical podcasts and then sort of UFOs and stuff, paranormal way back then. And I moved to Calgary to work at the steel place and I met Darren and I was telling him about these podcasts and because he was into like ancient aliens and stuff like that. So I was amazed back then in like the late 2000s that you could find people talking about anything you wanted to learn about for free. Like you really could. Back then even I was astounded. So I fell into that whole podcast thing way back then. And then somebody said to me, well, you should start a podcast. You could do it or something like that. And then when I met Darren, we went to these conferences and he was listening to Mysterious Universe, this podcast. It was really good about all this stuff. And we went to like a physical conference and we were like, we should start a podcast. So, you know, we used to talk about all this ancient mystery stuff. And so we decided to start one interview style, you know, in early So we were wondering back then in 2012. So this would have been Darren created the website on December 20th, 2012 or 21st, 2012, like that.
21st, 2012. Yeah.
That big day on 2012. He started the website and we started the podcast in early 2013. Even then we thought it might be too late to start a podcast.
Okay. So never having any kind of experience like this. Okay. And y'all
That's
just
right.
said, okay, we're going to get some mics. We're just going to do this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
I mean,
All right,
we
so
knew
how
podcasters as friends, like, cause we were sort of following them and we went to these conferences. We were we knew people that were doing it, but yeah, we just decided to go for it.
Okay. So you started it and I mean, it's been years. How the longevity of it, like obviously you guys enjoy it. Yeah. Tell me how's it going now? How did you keep it up?
Just doing it every week. Like it was really stick to itiveness, right? We tried to just make a point that like, we have to do this. If we're going to do it, we got to do it every week. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Try and be consistent. That was one of the things that they say, like to really be consistent. So, and it was an interview type show. So we just thought, well, whoever we're interested in, we're going to get on the show. So we had a wide variety of guests and got into, you know, some spiritual stuff, the Monroe Institute, UFOs and all that. And then ancient mysteries, like Darren was into that kind of stuff. So we just had a wide range of topics. And listeners would email in email in their stories. And that's how we kind of kept going, is we got listeners involved with synchronicities and sightings, because people were craving to talk about this stuff, because everybody was, the mainstream media was making fun of paranormal and UFOs and all that back in, 2012, 2013, right? People wanted to tell their experiences. So we kind of did that. We would read people's emails and bring them into the show a little bit like that.
Yeah.
And we just kept doing it every week.
So what is your viewership, listenership like at this point?
Darren, you want to answer that?
Like, what do they look like, or
your numbers? Not that numbers matter, but yeah, throw some of those out to us.
I don't know, quite a few, I guess. It depends on what show. we kind of, once we monetize, we sort of, I haven't even looked at like you kind of stop looking at the downloads and just start looking at the bank account and see, you know, is it still doable?
Is it paying the bills?
Is it paying the bills? Are we able to keep doing this doing this? I still work full time and groundwork part time, but we could rely on it if we needed to. We're in that thing where we're pretty close at least to do it as a full-time job if we needed to or if we wanted to. So I don't know. It's probably, some episodes are 5 or 10,000 and other episodes are 100 or 200,000, and the average is probably in that 40,000 sort of range.
And finally, we're going to end with 133 with Brian Besco, Guide to Embodiment Mastery.
Just be practice.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm ready, Brian.
Awesome. All right, so we're going to do a thing called the Trinity breath, where we move from the head into the heart. We see our consciousness as this little ball of light. It sits right behind the pineal gland. It looks out our physical eyes, sees the world separate. 3 breaths, we're going to move that into the heart space. So we're going to do the Trinity breath to move into the sacred space of the heart. And then from there, I'm going to give you this easy exercise, the soul altar, to release whatever you choose to no longer carry. So closing your eyes if you wish, putting your attention to your physical heart where we find your light, your soul's fire. Imagining connecting heart to heart with the earth and breathing in that light, that supporting energy of the earth up through the feet, into the heart, and just let that energy envelop the whole body as this beautiful hug of the earth into every cell, between every cell, grounding, releasing. Next, connecting with you as creator God, as soul, breathing in that light of you into the heart. The third breath in this Trinity breath is where we breathe together both earth and sky, both creation and the earth, bringing them together within you. They mix together with you within the heart, your lighting, your energy. And then those columns of light expand back to creation and back to earth. So you are the Trinity, grounded, connected, and in the heart space. This simple 3-breath technique is something to do anytime you need to make a decision in life. Go to the heart space. This is where you are divinely supported and where you step out of the field of influence of mass consciousness, of ancestors, of your own drama, going into the heart space. All right, so from the sacred space of the heart, we are going to do the soul altar exercise. Now imagine whatever it is in your world that no longer brings you joy. Maybe it's a specific situation, or maybe whatever it is energy. So maybe it's an ache or a pain. Take whatever it is, knowing it is energy, and we're just going to bring it into a little ball, a little bundle. Now we're going to imagine, while you're in the heart space, an altar to your soul. To me, it's just like this little pillar, like the little Greek pillars that you can set something on top of that's like 3 or 4 feet tall, whatever your altar to the soul is. And you simply take that bundle that you are complete with, that no longer brings you joy or no longer serves you, that situation, that energy. You sit it on that altar and you step away. This is a ceremony for the mind, because you stepping away is you telling soul, hey, I am truly done with this. I wish to no longer have this in my experience. And I ask that this all comes to completion. And you don't have to say a word or have any intentions. Your soul always knows. So when you go into the heart space, you imagine taking this bundle of energy, handing it to soul, or setting it on the altar, however you want to do it. It is your intention. The soul knows your intention, that you are setting this down, giving it to soul, and that you are ready to step away. And again, the stepping away is the big part of you saying, I am complete, I am done. And you can do this with everything. Become self-aware of any of the negative talk, of the emotional reactions that you have to something outside of you. Stop in those instances, go into the heart space, take that emotional reaction or whatever that is, give it to soul, and allow it to be complete. And it will begin to shift out of your reality. Most of the times we forget what it even was that we released because it is just gone. If there is something that is still there afterwards, then it is still serving you or bringing you joy in some way. For me, I feel like I had joy in suffering. And so there was a lot of things that I tried to release, but there was a part of me that was still holding on to those things. So again, that's where you need to be clear with yourself that, hey, this no longer serves me. This no longer brings me joy. I am truly releasing this. And this is the first step in becoming a conscious creator, is we uncreate creation, which no longer serves us and no longer brings us joy. This can be anything and everything, because everything is consciousness and energy. Everything is your energy, and everything has always been there serving you. So as you release something that is painful and dark and you have judgments with it, know that it was there for you. And so that's the radical acceptance of it, is that this was there for you, and that you are going to receive all of the wisdom and light for your experience. And it is absolutely as simple as that. Make it your own, always be in the heart, and just a clear conscious choice. And you can do this with everything. You can do this with mass consciousness. You can do this with your ancestors. And you can do this with all lifetimes. So again, just be ultra aware of any of the self-talk or any of the emotional reactions that you have, or situations that you are complete with. Be in the heart, take those as an energy bundle and hand it to soul. And it is that simple.
Shake my head a little bit. Okay, I'm watching the time, Brian, because I know you got something right after. You talking about, like, I put my things in a little bundle, and there was still a part of me that's just like you said, that was like, oh, this identity thing. And I've been working on my identity for years, releasing that, but some of this pain and suffering was still connected. So
Yeah.
For a minute there, I was like, dadgummit. So I will come back to this and do this several times, because it is definitely a work in progress.
No, thank you all for being here. And yeah, I do encourage you to use these exercises and be self-aware, because to me, this is the easiest way to shift out of the density and into you.
Thank you. All right, you. South Dakota.
Yes.
Love it.
Come
Okay.
visit us at Twisted Sage.
Okay, I probably will. All right. Bye, everybody. See you later, Brian. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Y'all, find me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, True Social, as well as Rumble, BitChute, YouTube, plus a plethora of other audio directories like Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So like, subscribe, do it all. See ya.